right, I'm excited for this one. So my special friend, Psychic Ty, and I just
Oh,
told and I just told you, let me move you over to the screen, that someone actually referred me over to, gosh, it feels like it must have been a year ago. How long have you had the YouTube channel?
it's been like since 2020 or so. Started during the pandemic when there's nothing else to do. So it seemed like a good idea.
And is that when you had your abilities, the psychic abilities around that time?
No, I had about like 3 years ago or so, I started, taking trainings and psychic abilities and really taking it more seriously. And over time, I started working with clients and also just started off practicing with people. And eventually, it got to the point where I felt confident enough to do it with strangers that I don't know. And then that eventually led to me being like, well, I could make some money doing this. And so I created a YouTube channel and started making predictions for uh, the month. Actually, initially, I wasn't even into making predictions. I was just more about reading the energy of people and kind of just where they're at. And eventually, I started making predictions.
So
So,
I got a reading with you, and I remember thinking, I don't have like a large experience with different psychics and different, but I know there's different modalities. Like some people are good at astral projection, some people are good at remote viewing, and energy reading is a little different. And I know there's something to it because, well, for one, that reading that I got with you was very validating. You know,
awesome.
I think you read me pretty well. Um,
Awesome.
so when you're making predictions, how do you use energy reading to extract information? Like, what are you getting out of it?
Yeah, so I might be using more than just that technique. It's kind of hard to pinpoint one thing, but that's kind of where I start. And I usually just tune into the energy, and sometimes it shows up as a color, sometimes it just shows up as an inner knowing that there's just like a feeling to it or something like that. And then I also get visuals like symbolically. So I don't think of myself as a remote viewer, but I will see like a symbol that can represent something, and it's not necessarily even anything real. It's just like symbolic. But sometimes it can be literal as well. And I've had times where I explain something and somebody was like, "Oh wow, that's like literally exactly how it is." But generally, it just kind of goes from the energy, and then it turns into a symbolic representation. Sometimes it could just be like a an image that kind of represents someone, even if it's not how they literally look necessarily. But sometimes it may show like a certain feature of them that's kind of over exaggerated. And then I know that that's what's going on with them. Or sometimes it's just like I was doing a reading where I just saw a microphone and I was like, oh, there's a microphone. And this has to do with you talking. And it turned out that they were doing, well, I guess kind of similar to what you're doing and what I've been doing, where they've been doing
Hmm.
a show and
Could it be
things
that
like
these
that.
could it be that these are like entities that are sending the message? Because like, why would they be symbols if you're reading energy? Why is it like it's almost like someone's trying to play uh the word is escaping, when they're acting like Pictionary or something, like where they're acting out, and you have to guess the word. So they can't
Yeah,
explicitly tell you what it is, but they can send you an image. Well, that almost seems sentient in nature. If someone has to say, "Oh, microphone," why would it come through that way?
yeah. So I think sometimes I can connect with guides or whatever you want to call them, whatever they may be. but I generally think that it's more like in the way that you connect with your subconscious. And I like to think of it as like a dream, because when you dream,
Mm.
it's like you find meaning in your dreams, and sometimes it's just kind of gibberish because you're not sure what it is that you're reading in a dream. But in some sense, you could say that a dream is a way of reading energy. It's just that it's not focused on one thing, so it's hard to really decipher what it means. But
Interesting.
it's kind of how the subconscious mind works. And so I think that there's actually a lot of healing uh, and like therapy involved in the process of describing these images, because they, even if they don't necessarily correlate with the conscious mind on a subconscious symbolic level, they may resonate more. And so I interpret what I see, but I also like to kind of tell the person the images that I'm seeing as well, because I feel like that may resonate on another level you can't really necessarily describe, if that makes sense.
No, it makes sense. I mean, I'm forever trying to break down the mechanics of it. I always pretend like I have like one of my real world friends, not my like, remote viewing psychic community friends. And let's just say they're skeptics. And I'm always trying to explain it to them in like one sentence. So I'm always in my mind breaking down the mechanics of these things. And it's just a puzzle that can't be cracked. I mean, I'm sure you came also to the conclusion with a lot of the predictions that we do. It seems that time is fluid, where things change. Yeah, we get a lot of things right, but why is anything wrong? Why would anything be wrong? It doesn't make any sense. Sometimes we've probed and got like conflicting answer, like we'll pull the correct answers, but like let's just say they're yes or no. It's a hard example actually, but the bottom line is there's no way we can get the data. It's like there's no way we could be told what it was, like what's hidden behind door number 3. And let's say it could be an apple or a computer. Only those two objects, right? And each one will represent a different outcome, let's just say. And we're only supposed to guess one of the objects. Well, we'll guess both objects. Out of all the objects in the world, we'll get both of them, so we can't find out which associated remote viewing. I'm sure you heard of it. It's like, why would we get both of them and not some random? It could have been anything in
Yeah,
the world. It could have been a planet,
there's
could have been
infinite
cities.
possibilities, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
and that's part of the reason I actually kind of struggle with yes or no questions. That's some people just like yes or no questions, and that's how they read. But for me, it just doesn't really come through as like yes or no. When somebody asks something, I have to like kind of like tune into it and like get through the layers of what's going on, and then kind of decipher whether or not I think that means yes or no. So it's kind of a different process. I don't really do like the mediumship thing, where you get like an answer from someone else who kind of just maybe they're telling the truth, maybe they have an opinion too. That's the thing about guides is guides are great, and spirits that you're talking to are great, but like just like people, they have opinions. So
but
just take that into
but I mean, in
consideration.
relation to your predictions, like how has that played out for you? How have you seen your predictions play out in terms of its success, its hit rate?
Um, well, I'll be honest. At one point tried to do readings on the stock market and things like that, and it didn't really go too well.
Same with
But
us.
yeah, it's really like reading numbers and charts, very difficult. And I don't really specialize in remote viewing, so like mine is like a whole different process. But reading people and kind of the energy, that's really where everything kind of clicks for me. And so I just, yeah, my success rate, I mean, I It's really hard to say, but
Well, no, I mean, I'm not saying to put it down in numbers. I mean, we've developed a niche in terms of our predictions. You know, we put out things like, as you said, when we were trying to guess numbers in the stock market, we had some trouble. But you know, when we were focusing on earnings reports before they were released, when we do readings on a particular crypto that seems to be good, we do Bitcoin for the month, and we'll go week by week, and you know, we get a general forecast very well. So if we do
right.
like a weather prediction, yeah, maybe the weather changes a day or two or whatever, but the rain is still coming, this wind is still blowing that way, and that's usually our success rate with Bitcoin. And that, and people, like you said, that's why we just called it deep mind probes, because it's so accurate. We can really extract information from a human. And you seem to also have had the same ability, well, different, but same capability, I should say.
Yeah, no, I definitely relate to that with the like kind of weather prediction. I feel like I've had people comment on my channel and be like, "You're just reading the astrology." I'm like, well, I'm not an astrologer, but maybe I am reading the astrology. But
Yeah, I know.
so yeah, I feel like there's something to that. It's like the gist when I try and read Bitcoin or something. I'm also like invested in it, so I'm not neutral to it, and I feel like that can be a problem when you're reading something that you are not neutral. So I always try and I always meditate and try and get into a kind of neutral state of mind where it's almost like I could be presented with anything and it wouldn't phase me basically.
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah,
not like on one side or the other. I try to leave politics out of it because that always kind of gets in the way and makes me not want to say certain things. I do want to say
right.
certain things, and that messes with the information. We all have a filter, so
Yeah,
I try and be aware of that and try and go around that without allowing that to skew my perception. But yeah, with Bitcoin, I found that instead of what I used to do is try and kind of like visualize the chart and like see where it goes. And that just, I kind of started to just see what I wanted to see, to be
oh, right.
honest.
Yeah, it goes straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see the
um,
problem.
but when I
Mm.
would kind of tune into like a person or maybe a group of people who are invested in it, I could kind of get more like, I see them being
Exactly.
happy, or I see them being like, ooh, like biting their nail. I think in one of my videos, I said I saw for December, I saw people biting their nails, and I was like, well,
Yeah,
it doesn't look
exactly.
too great.
That's so
Although,
funny. We
yeah,
did the same thing. We just attacked it from a different angle, and that was the success. That it just sounds like that's how you did it too. You grouped an entity, and you know, I work with so I'm sure you saw some of the videos. Liz Cross, she's
right.
on them. So, and it's interesting being in this seat and kind of guiding in a way, because what like your average viewer will see, you seem like very well focused, like you're like you do it on your own, but you know, Liz and I seem to be pretty synergistic. And what people don't understand is that she's doing she's like a hybrid, like she can channel entities or people or things, and then she can also kind of view out a little bit. And then as she's talking, she's actually talking, let's say she channeled Abraham Lincoln, right? And she's asking that person questions and getting answers. Well, as she's talking, it's almost as if Abraham Lincoln is really talking. And but her tone will change. So if it's slower, I know she's channeling. If it's like fast, now she's the filter, as you said, and the
Hmm.
information is coming through her. You know, so, and I'm just aware of all these things, and I know the audience isn't, so I'll kind of guide it along, and I'm constantly, you know, interrupting her and trying to, you know, break her out of it and move it along. But yeah, you seem
Interesting.
so, yeah, it's there's more behind the scenes, uh but for you, you're self-directed, and you seem to have, you know, your own capabilities, but she was a natural psychic, and I think that's the difference. I don't think she's trained, and I think you were trained, right?
Yeah, I mean, on some level, I always had a lot of intuition, and like as a kid, I kind of would always like, well, I believed in magic my whole life, and I'd kind of like create intention, like manifestation. That's been something I just did naturally, and so I was always kind of in tune with that type of thing, but I never really took it to the next level until I started training, getting practice doing it, and kind of developing. I
So
guess
you,
it takes faith in yourself. And so I think a lot of it is just developing your inner faith in yourself, really. So I think a lot of people are pretty psychic and they don't realize it. And
oh
they
yeah.
just don't have faith in their own ability. And it's that simple. They don't believe it.
So when you took these courses, what would be the key takeaway? Would be faith, just letting go, and
That was the byproduct. Um, the key takeaway is meditation, and like I meditate like every day pretty much. I meditate for like an hour before I do a reading, and I don't have to, but I choose to because it just makes it go smoother and I feel more confident doing it. And for me, it's really about clearing out the clutter, the whatever's
your
in my
personal
auric
clutter.
field. Yeah, for
Okay.
me personally, like um kind of meditate on my on being grounded to the center of the earth. That's a big deal for me. And just kind of clearing out the energy throughout my auric field so that I can see more clearly. There's not all this stuff that's like affecting me. And that just makes things more clear.
And you're doing it with your third eye,
Yeah.
and you're viewing an energy, you're viewing. So what you did for me was you were going by layers, and the layers, I assume, were, it felt like they were chakras. That's
They're
what it's.
connected to the chakras. Yeah. I mean, different people see the auric field differently. I like to think it's kind of like a rainbow. There's infinite colors in a rainbow. You could say there's like 7 colors. You could say there's like only primary colors or whatever. I've had people disagree with me, and it's whatever. I'm
Mhm.
not saying there's definitely 7 layers, but that's just kind of the way that I've been trained to see it. And if you look at different tribes and different parts of the world, they actually see different shades of color, and they have different words for different shades of color that we don't see. Like we see blue or green, etc., and they kind of see it a little different. They have a
Hmm.
different perception of the spectrum.
Hmm.
But yeah, basically, I go through the layers of the auric field, and it's not like I have to read that way. I just find it convenient as a way to kind of get to know someone, as a way to kind of uh, just uh, just a way to get the ball rolling, I guess. Just something
So
to
you
read.
so you meditate. Well, going back to the courses, you basically learned it's a lot of meditation, and then
Yeah,
you've opened up your third eye, and then you see through it, and you just allow yourself to let go and tell you what comes in,
yeah,
because you did it with your eyes closed, and that's what I kind of saw, that you were
yeah,
going inside. Okay. So what did you learn specifically? If you could, the courses seem like they take a long time, right?
yeah. They're like a year, and yeah. Well, yeah, it's really kind of like tuning into your imagination, and just kind of allowing like a dream, basically. It's like
Hmm.
you can kind of visualize something and then just kind of see what happens next.
Okay. Okay.
Sometimes you can
And
put up a visualize an image that represents something, even if it's the actual thing, and just allow your mind to kind of show you what's going on there. Like it'll start showing certain characteristics. Just things will start popping up, and you'll be like, "Oh, I see what's going on." It's usually, I mean, for me, it's symbolic. That's the way that I was taught. It's not like, literal. I want to get into remote viewing, but I just, I'm so caught up in what I do already that I just never get around to it. But
Well, listen, remote viewing is just a set of protocols. It's just like a scientific approach to it. So if I were to tell you, hey, go view John Smith, well, remote viewing would say, well, you're doing energy readings, but a remote viewing, I would assign John Smith the numbers, 54839, give that to the person who has no idea about John Smith. It could be viewing anything, an apple. And then that person will, draw on a piece of paper what they see. So
right.
it's,
I mean, I guess I
but
do that actually sometimes. I just recently did that. Actually, I was watching one of your videos, and someone named Full Monty. I gave him a reading last week, so I found that really synchronistic. I was like, oh damn, it's all so interconnected.
mhm. Yeah, he's on
That's
our
pretty
thing.
cool.
He's a good one. He's a good friend. But you know, I guess what I'm trying to do is just create like more of an accurate depiction when we do these deep mind probes, like a video we did today. Aliens always come up. Have you ever had alien stuff like when you were
Oh yeah,
probing things? Yeah.
yeah. I've also, I mean, this may be sound kind of crazy, but I've definitely like
Not on my
seen some
channel.
bizarre. I've seen some bizarre, yeah. I've seen some crazy UFO stuff in my life that like they were like communicating with me. And I mean, not like telepathically, but like they were, they were doing stuff in the sky that would like correlate with what I was thinking. And I'd be like, oh, nothing's going on. And then they'd be like doing crazy shit. I'm like, okay, something's going on, like, and I don't even know if I really want to get into it, but there's just been some crazy stuff I've experienced in the forest. And yeah, specifically correlated with what I would say. And I guess I'll just say it, but
Good.
I feel bad about this, but at one point,
You made love to an alien. Oh, okay.
I think we injured an alien. I'll just put it that way.
Oh, that's a nice twist.
Yeah.
How?
By throwing a log.
Throwing a log?
Yeah, log.
How old were you? You were young.
I was just about past 21.
Okay.
So,
yeah. That
so
young,
I'm,
stupid age.
Yeah. I'm like 36 now. I know a lot of people think I'm younger than I look, but
So what was the experience that got the alien within throwing distance? It doesn't make sense. 100%. Usually they're out of the way, and then usually they're also, I don't know, assumingly they can't breathe this atmosphere. So
okay, so I'm just gonna go off into woo land here. But
listen, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Anyone who watches me is completely open-minded.
Yeah. So I wanted to, I grew up like in high school reading like Carlos Castaneda and whatnot, and so I was like really into like stuff like that. And I was like, I want to meet aliens and stuff. And so I like read this book about how to manifest it, and I was like, okay. And then I was visiting my dad, who lived out in the middle of the woods, like in the middle of nowhere, completely off the grid. I was with my friend, my dad, and my stepmom, and my friend pointed it out first. He was like, "What's that?" And we were like, "Satellites or something." It's like these red lights. And then eventually, my dad started buying telescopes to look at them and binoculars, and like we'd look at them, and they were straight up flying saucers.
And how did you know they were sporadic? They did that sporadic thing where they move like that?
They'd be like, at first they're like red dots, and they'd just be like kind of like moving like this or whatever. We're like, that's weird. And then like the next day we saw them. It was like 14 days. It was like around 2 weeks or so. I don't know exactly. I was out in the woods, not really paying attention to time. To the point where, you know, we'd just be looking at a star and being like, okay, so let's use that star as a reference point to like notice this other thing that's going like this. And then like after an hour or so, it would just be, the star would go and you'd be like, oh, that wasn't a star.
Oh, wow.
And also it would get crazier and crazier every night until we started hearing things around our log cabin, like circling us, and they would be like in a perfect circle around the cabin, and they would move like in unison in like a circle.
So how did it get to
the crap out of us?
growing? How did you injure the alien? We'll get to the fun part.
So naturally, me and my friend were like freaked out. We would kind of throw things to like be like, is it a deer? Like, is this a person messing with us? Like, what's going on? Or kind of throw things up their direction to kind of like stir things up, like just to, you know, because we didn't really know what was going on. We were kind of like, maybe it's just a deer.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point I chased one with a pocket knife and a flashlight. No, sorry, it was a machete and a flashlight.
But how do you know it was an alien though?
Okay, so
how do you know you weren't thinking of it because you saw the UFOs?
I know. Because it would move at the exact time that we would say things, and it would move faster than a person. And when he eventually threw the log, it hit, like it was like a like sound like of the wind being knocked out of someone. And I turned to him and I was like, I think you heard it. And as soon as I said that, like all of these things, like there are like 10 of them or 15. I say 15, my friend said 10. I don't know. But they're all in a perfect circle and they all just go like straight to that spot, like as fast as I just did that sound. And like you could hear the brush, it was like all
were there
these
lights?
things. There were no lights. We didn't see them ever, even when we would chase them. It was weird. And you know, we've been living out in the woods for a while, so we'd see deer and bear.
So you hit a monkey with a log, a bunch of bats attacked the monkey.
Yeah.
And that's how we explain it away.
So here's the other thing. After that night, we never saw a UFO ever again.
That's
and we were seeing it was increasing, and as the UFO activity would increase, the number of things we would hear in the woods would increase. And after hitting it with that log, never saw a UFO ever again. So
damn, you fucked it up. You just
you
were the ambassador of Earth, and you just
I know. I was like,
could have caused a war.
But my friend.
But going back to a crucial point, I think people probably missed is that you were actually trying to achieve this, right? You're doing something.
And that there's so many factors in it that just make it sound crazy. But yeah,
it's not crazy. Well, listen, Stephen Greer does that, right? The CE5 protocols. They have people go out to the woods together, and then they use, you know, they try to meditate and collectively call down UFOs. And I never personally have done it, but I mean, I'm just convinced of all the stuff that I've seen at this point. Do we know why? No. I mean, I have theories, but we don't know what's going on out there. Today we did a video on Heaven's Gate. That was a good one. If I were to say to you, Ty, can you look out and do an energy reading on a spaceship, on the spaceship behind that comet, Hob something, you know, can you view the energy of a particular spaceship in 1997, or can you start probing around now with your new abilities in that way?
Yeah, of course, it's all going to be, you know, somewhat symbolic in nature, and so I don't necessarily, you know, have like exactly like this is exactly what the spaceship looked like. It's going to be more like this is kind of the gist of what I'm getting, and then it's going to be like, I'm seeing a symbol like maybe there's an explosion, or maybe there's something exciting going on, or maybe I get the sense that there's like some sort of like maybe like bad energy, where there's like someone's angry or like something like that. It's not going to be like totally comprehensive without having other information to kind of compare it
Okay,
to
so
make it make
let's say
sense.
you had symbolic answers, right? But we're
Yeah,
viewing an alien spaceship, okay? All right.
yeah,
And you're getting, well, we don't know if it exists or doesn't exist, right? It could be a
right.
human construct by that religious group.
Yeah.
So if you're getting energy readings, could you be reading the energy of a human construct?
See, that's all very possible too. And yeah, to be honest, I don't necessarily know.
Okay.
But I would assume that that is definitely a possibility. I think that it would also be possible that I would kind of tune into something and be like, oh, there's kind of nothing there. I've had this happen with readings before, where before a reading with a person, I kind of tune in, I kind of get a sense of their energy. I'm not like consciously trying to do that. It just kind of happens because it's like, it's kind of like a big deal that I'm about to do. And so I just kind of get a sense sometimes about what this experience may be like. But like sometimes I get a sense that there's just nothing there, and I'm like, weird. And then like the person doesn't show up. So it's also possible that that could happen, and I might just be like, yeah, I'm not really getting anything. Um, but I could also just be seeing through my own lens and like kind of
Mm.
project something that's not there. So I mean, there's a lot of possibilities. I can't like guarantee anything for sure.
I knew that you and I were connected in some way when you did David Adair, because
Oh
I
yeah.
did David Adair
Oh really?
way before, but maybe we have like similar viewers or however it connected. But I thought that is specific because I was looking for who are the most probable alien experiencers and kind of looking for the new ones. Like I think Bob Lazar is a legit one. I think anyone who's aware of the field can agree.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, Bob Lazar. So when we were probing Bob Lazar, we got a lot of positive stuff. We got a lot of like dirt also. So we chose not to make it public because a lot of it is,
Right.
not people should hear about that. And then I thought, well, if he did David Adair, what was your key takeaway on David Adair? Was
I'm trying to remember. um he seemed like a pretty down to earth, like super down to earth guy. Not really trying to impress people necessarily, just but I kind of got this sense that there may be some sort of kind of struggle going on with him, finding satisfaction in his life. But I don't really, I also kind of got the sense that I shouldn't say certain things. And so I actually almost didn't make the video. But then I kind of tuned in and I was like, okay, so like, what can I say? Kind of like reanalyzed it, and kind of did a different reading where I kind of looked at certain things from a different angle. And then I was like, okay, this seems more appropriate. But I got the sense that he's down to earth, and I can't remember most of the details. I'd have to watch it again, to be honest.
Well, I mean, not to derail our thing. I mean, I know you do readings, and I'm just, private readings for people, and they should go on your channel, and I'll put the link for how they get to your readings, of course. But I guess what I'm driving at is we did the David Adair. We asked specific questions. Did his summary of him is that he worked on a spaceship and that he believes the spaceship was alive to a
Yes.
degree, and it was contained at Area 51. Then all of a sudden he was just a rocket scientist from a young age, and he did have this unusual background that validated him, and he had some military general or someone kind of take him under his wing and put him in these um put him in these situations where he encounter these spaceships and stuff. So there's obviously we can't walk onto the base and see it ourselves. So it's really all about a bullshit meter. Is he telling the truth? Who is this guy? What's going on with him? So when you probed him, I mean, you said down to earth, so that leans towards telling the truth.
Yeah, I get the sense that he's telling the truth. Did you not?
I don't remember. I think we always get a hybrid now, like a mix of they have to embellish certain things to stay relevant, but there is truth to what they're saying.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. I just remember now. There was a lot of weird like censorship stuff going on with that too. So
yeah, and same thing with Greer. Like Greer is genuine, but he has to do what he's doing. He has to bullshit to prop up constantly, and he gets excited and he sees opportunities and he uses his big words but it's by design, and he just has to, and that's what we extracted from it. But
yeah, no, I was getting similar things, like he's honest, but there's like more to the story that he's not telling.
Yeah.
I kind of got the sense that he doesn't necessarily know all of everything either, but also that he wants to present it in a way where it's a simple positive message.
Okay. Yeah.
Doesn't want to scare people, I guess.
Well, I think we should do a follow-up video. And I mean, I believe that a lot of this channeled work is validating within itself. Have you ever read the Law of One material or anything like that? Have you ever?
I've heard of it. I have not actually read it though.
Oh, I didn't mean like, I meant like hear of it. Obviously, it's like, it's to me, it's almost like proof of something. It's like if you start having someone going to sleep in front of you and then they start resuscitating, a physics book. You're like, all right, well, this 10-year-old boy doesn't know physics, and he starts reciting all these big words, and it's just unusual in that regard. But anyways, I don't want to get too off topic. I think this was a fun conversation. I wanted to bring you on. I had a good reading with you, so I wanted other people to have that opportunity.
Yeah, I will say really quick, you mentioned the David Adair thing about the UFOs being alive, and ever since I've been like 21, I kind of just was like, or ever since that experience I was saying, I've just been like, yeah, they're alive. Like those crafts are alive. They're not just one set shape. They can morph into like a sphere of spinning colors and then like morph into a distinct flying sausage shape. So I've seen that myself.
We should try to channel a spaceship one day. I've seen it done before. I mean, what is it gets into like what is alive? I mean, if you have not even if you have artificial intelligence, even with a supercomputer, imagine, real artificial intelligence, like 20 years from now, artificial intelligence, and then combine that with a quantum computer, you basically have a god, right? So if you have a spaceship and we're about a throwing distance away from that technology. So imagine, go out a little bit longer. So when you say alive, like what is consciousness? What is it? Complexity? Does it have to be biological? Right.
Yeah.
Is it biological? Could it be a hybrid of the two? So, is it energy?
Right.
On the other side of the universe, things could be made out of metal, and then what?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? We're made out of hydrogen or something. How would you break us down? Hydrogen, right?
Yeah, those are.
Yeah.
What is life?
What is it? All right. Yeah, it's a good place to end.
Yeah. All right, man. It's been good.
All right. Yes. Thank you, my friend. I'm going to stop here. Just a quick plug. Our app is now live in the Play Store and the App Store. You can get it in the description below. I put all the details in there. Thanks.